بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. بسم الله. أوكي. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما، وأن يجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما، وألا يدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today we will start with just in case if we have new guests. What we are doing since about 20 sessions more or less. Where is our brother? 20 today. Alhamdulillah. Exactly 20. Alhamdulillah. That we are trying to present a simple, easy tafsir for the Quran, with the aim of enabling you to enjoy understanding the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from one angle, to help you enjoying reading and understanding and living the Quran, explaining the Quran for anyone whom you are concerned with, and to be able to present this great message to any non-Muslim in a simple way. My methodology basically is based on the idea to make things as simple as I can, in case if I have someone with 10 years or less, he would be able to understand what I'm saying, and above that definitely will be able to understand, inshallah. Now, the last point of what my methodology basically, that I'm not stopping and analyzing every single word, but however, I'm choosing concepts now, but with the main order of the Quran. What we have done so far, we finished Al-Fatiha and about 2 or 3 pages from Surah Al-Baqarah with great main concepts, in light of, under the umbrella of that this is the, as we believe, the constitution of Allah to humanity up to the day of judgment. Constitution means this message, this book contains the main guidelines, not the every single tiny details. I have to keep repeating this because Islam is not based just on the Quran. We have Quran plus Sunnah. Okay? Sunnah means what? The authentic things that we receive from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the messenger of Allah, who was sent with this constitution to explain it on a span of a time of 23 years. So what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, did, acted upon, reacted towards is part of the explanation of Islam, which is the expansion of understanding the constitution. However, now we are dealing just with the constitution. Okay? Because why I'm saying that, some people they say, Khalas, Quran, no, Quran and Sunnah. After the Sunnah, then later we have great scholars for hundreds of years who explained the main guidelines of the constitution and the practical application of it 23 years of Prophet Muhammad, the representative of Allah, through what we call the Islamic jurisprudence, schools of Islamic juridical thoughts, madaris or madahib al-fiqhiyya. This greatness and richness, we have Islamic legislations. Okay? Now we are dealing with the constitution. Constitution, main message, basic guidelines. I repeat, the most important thing you should know, you need to know about this book, that this is a book of guidance. It does not contain the details of everything. It is a book of guidance. It's not a book of science. However, it contains scientific evidences as signs to prove that it is from Allah. It's not a book of history, but it contains historical facts and amazing, astonishing realities about history, just to give you an idea, to inform you. But it's not a book of history. It has a special methodology. So in this slide now, we started with the opening The mercy 17 times. Surah Al-Baqarah chapter, the cow, the big classification of Allah for humanity, starting from that Allah is telling us that you human beings, in my sight you are classified to two main categories, believers and non-believers. And he highlighted out of, and he gave the highest level of the believers, which is المتقين. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Then he gave us the most points in which you apply them, you will be from the muttaqin. You are saved as if from the very beginning, like glad tidings, you know, in the new marketing, you know, methodologies now. When you open, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى, when you open the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, sometimes the ad should take no more than a few seconds to give you the idea that attracts you. This is the latest of the latest of the intelligence of the human beings, which is in a few seconds. Hey, do you want happiness? Do you want to save? Do you want to save? Do you want to? Okay, خلاص. You know what's the point? The same thing. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. At the very beginning. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Oh ya Allah, متقين. Okay, I want to be from المتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب يقيمون الصلاة يؤتون الزكاة وبالآخرة هم. That's it. If you want to be with them, do this. Then إن الذين كفروا. I have a category that I, as a creator, call them kuffar. Those who rejected me and my way. Okay? Then explain. Then he highlighted one of the most dangerous category among the rejectors of Allah, which is the hypocrites. المنافقين. ومن الناس من يقول آمنا. Some of the people, they claim that they claim that they believe, etc. Then we jumped from this to this to this point. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately highlighted the concept of Jannah. After he said, this is muttaqin, this is kuffar, this is, then after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he directed a direct message to human being, if you remember. Ya ayyuhan nasu ubudu rabbakum. And we did at least 2 or 3 sessions about the concept of inner nature, the fitrah. So how come Allah is addressing believers and non-believers? And we proved that it is a valid message for believers and non-believers as a book of guidance, and we give the justifications why. Then we moved to our final point last time, which is وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أَنَّ لَهُمْ what? جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ. Now the reward. Why we are suffering all this suffer? Why should I be restricting myself for this and that? Why am I supposed to submit myself and to accept this, etc.? There is a reward. Simply, we are creating the concept of, you know, you do an effort, you have a reward. وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Then, by the wisdom of Allah, today's session now, we move to the one of the most important historical, I think not one of, for us as a human being, it is the most important historical event in the history of the universe. For us is the starting of the creation of our Father. Because we are part of the creation. So the story of Adam alayhi salam, our father. So this is one of the greatest stories, by the way. One of the beautiful, good, nice things to know, that you can't find this piece of information with these details from an authentic way connected to Allah except in the Quran. Yeah, by the way, apart from everything else, the peace of mind in what we believe as the tawatur, the certainty, the 100% assurance that what we are reading is the word of Allah, which means we are receiving information, knowledge from an authentic source about what happened tens, thousands, we don't know, years ago. No one has any way to know an approach except the revelation. It's a matter of faith. It's either you believe or you don't believe. So today we will start with قول الله تعالى وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض. I will recite in Arabic. I will give the quick general idea about the verses. Then as I told you, I'm dealing with concepts now. I will not explain the ayah, but I will be dealing with maybe 30 to 50 ayah in the Quran about the beginning of Adam. But starting from this, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قَالُوا أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم غيب السماوات والأرض وأعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تكتمون وقلنا يا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة وكلا منها رغدا حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين فأزلهما الشيطان عنها فأخرجهما مما كانا فيه. By the way, this simple 5 verses, around them revolves tens and hundreds of questions, especially between Jews, Christians, and Muslims. And apart, the rest of the humanity, they have no knowledge, aslan. Okay? Those who are fighting about whose narrative is the truth and the influence and the effect for hundreds and thousands of years because of understanding this story. It's an amazing piece of information. Now, with قال ربك, amazingly Allah is telling us about an event that happened thousands of years ago. Allah knows when. A conversation, a dialogue happened between Allah and the angels. Behold, be aware that Allah told the angels that قال إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. So we have many concepts. Allah, one of the concepts that will start, okay, so before us, many things, they were there, including samawat, ard, malaika, jinn. All of them, they were there. So we are, according to the, totally, generally, when we read all, sources that we know, we are the last of the creation, by the way, we, human beings. Before Adam, everything else has already been created. We are the last guest of the creation. Wow. Amazingly. So many things happened before us. So some beings like the angels, they have already an experience about other beings. So they were seeking the knowledge because they have a previous knowledge about something else. Allah is telling the malaika, I will create a creation. They have no idea about its nature. I will create, okay, a khalifa. We will explain the meaning of a khalifa, okay? This, which is highly misunderstood. They say a representative of Allah. This is a big mistake. No one is a representative of Allah. Okay? Khalifa yakhlufu ba'duhum ba'da, which means we inherit each other with the message of Allah, and we take and we hold the responsibility from each other, from our ancestors, their offsprings. They hold the amana from them. يَسْتَخْلِفُ بَعْضُهُمْ بَعْضًا. We convey this amana, this trust, from a generation to a generation of the human beings up to the day of judgment. This is the meaning of istikhlaf and khilafa. Not we are representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, إِنِّي جَعْلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. They have no idea about what type of creation, because they know the jinn, they know the malaika themselves, they know, the universe, the heavens, the earth, animals, ancestors. You see, the creation of the sea creatures, all of they have an idea about what type of they have no idea. Now, and Allah called it Khalifa. He did not explain. جعل في الأرض خليفة. Immediately they said قال أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء. So we have a big question. On what base they said, oh Allah, how come you will create a creation on earth who will be spreading and mischieving and shedding blood? So immediately they had the idea that this new creation will be mischieving and doing a lot of bad, corrupted things on earth. On what base they said that? We have more than one possibility according to ulama and mufassirin. One of the possibilities, Allah told them. Simply. But it's not mentioned in the Quran. Part of what Allah told them, that this creation, part of His, what He will be doing, XYZ. Number one. Number two, some narrations, they talk about that. They witnessed the previous creation, such as the jinn in specific. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it clearly. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ. In another verse, وَالْجَانَّ خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ. Which means the jinn and their father, out of his offspring who came, the offspring of jinn is Iblis. They were created before us. And they had the ability and the will of to say no to Allah like the human beings. So in practice, they might have witnessed shedding blood and a lot of mischieving and corruption by the jinn. So they made a quick analogy. So already, and maybe they witnessed the animals. Now the animals, they are created on a base that they can't eat and survive unless if they, you know, the predators, what they do. So they have an idea about animals, jinn, whatever. They have an idea. So it's as simple, Allah honored them by telling them about a new creation out of millions of creation. Millions. We know, some of them, they know, maybe more than that. So they said, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا. How come, Ya Allah, you will create a new creation to do? قال ونحن نسبح بحمدك, as if they are saying or suggesting, but I mean, what is the need for a new creation to do this? قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. I know what you don't know. Here is a key answer now. Highlight it, okay, in your mind. إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. I know what you don't know. Immediately. The Quran says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ. Now, their question is about a big concept, which is, how come you create a creation to shed the blood, do corruption? Answer, I know what you don't know. علم. I know what you don't know. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Allah taught Adam the names of everything. So we will be understanding what is the relation of the fact that Allah created Adam in ability and He honored him with the ilm of the names of everything. And why the names, not the verbs? Asma, kullaha. What is the point of knowing compared with the malaika? So they were asking in a very simple way. Allah gave them the permission. They're discussing, how come? قال وعلم. Still they have no idea. After He honored him, created him, He put his, created the soul within himself. And we have a lot of details. طين, turab, طين lazib, hama masnoon. We have the stages of the creation. Then he became human being. Then Allah gave him the knowledge of the names of everything. قال ثم عرضهم على الملائكة. The things in which they have names, it was like presented. How, we don't know. Now we can present millions of things through the screens and the internet. Can I present to you now 1 million image on my screen? Telling you what is this, what is this, what this? Yes, you can. So how did Allah? We can do it with human beings. So Allah presented in a way. ثم عرضهم. Things, everything in the creation, عرضهم. What is this? What is this? What is that? What is that? ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني, tell me about the names of these things. قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. We don't know. We have very limited knowledge. We don't know but what you have told us. We don't know. By the way, I'm just giving you a very simple on the surface of the tafsir. Still, I have not started yet. I'm just giving you the quick understanding. Then we will go through many concepts to understand this big event. Okay? قال إني أعلم ما لا sorry قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. Glory be to you, O Allah. We don't know but what you have taught us. We don't know. قال يا آدم وأنبئهم بأسمائهم. Tell them about the names of these things. فلما أنبأهم, when he told them about the names of these things. فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. Have I not told you that I know? Which, after that, in the verses, he asked them to do sujood for Adam. Immediately they obeyed except Iblis. كان من الجن. We will explain why he was there, what happened. Now the first quick idea, look, to portray the image. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that there was like an information from Allah to the malaika. A new creation will be created. Once I've created him, do sujood for him. Quick response, but what is the maghza? What is the purpose? Why? I know what you don't know. Created, taught, challenge. Tell them about what you know. Can you compete? No, ya Allah. So he is favored upon you. This Adam, he was given something amazing. You know what's the amazing things that he was given? We talk about generally. He was given the knowledge of the power of intellect and the language and the willpower to realize, to seek the knowledge, to understand and to take the decision, as we say, because he was given the power of knowledge of everything. Knowledge means realization, comprehending, understanding. This will move you to next step. You are created in a way that you have the fitra contains the power of intellect. This contains a software that contains the knowledge, and you have the will power. So therefore you are a learning being and a moral being. You have the knowledge to understand what is good and what is bad and what is right and what is wrong. And you have the willpower to take a moral decision that this is right, therefore I want to follow the right, and this is wrong, I want to leave the wrong. I will explain how we came to these conclusions. I'm just giving the very general idea. Yes, brother. Sorry. When I finish, I will forget everything in my mind. Allah يجزيك الخير. I have already forgot. جزاك الله خير. So, in light of this, now I just like the beginning just of this group of ayat. Let's highlight what we need to know about this story. Now, first message. What we are discussing now, and maybe it will take me at least 3 sessions, by the way, to talk about the story of Adam. Okay? You need to know the following. Message number 1. We are believers. Okay? Now, if you are concerned about your kids, especially we are living in a world in which materialism, atheism, anti-religious whatever ism is spread. So what we are talking about now, in case if someone does not believe, it will make no sense. Actually, he or she is wasting his or her time by aslan from the very beginning by listening to the whole thing. So the base of enjoying, understanding the justification to accept the religion itself and the package of it, or otherwise you will be wasting your time. So please take care of your kids. Because what we are discussing has just one channel to understand, the channel of Iman. We are discussing something has happened maybe in our time understanding 200,000 years ago. Maybe 500,000 years ago. We have no idea. Any scientific approach to know, it's impossible. It's impossible. It's either you accept, you don't accept. Okay, this is the first message. This will connect me with another message, which is some people, for many reasons, they belong to other traditions and faiths. They don't like religions. They hate all of the religions. So they have doubt about the whole idea of believing in the unseen. Let me tell you, please, how to deal with them. Tell them the following. I respect your freedom of choice to doubt the idea of religion, but not necessarily this is applicable on me. Go and compare between each religion. Try to test the religions that are presented to you, basically Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, apart from man-made religions. Okay? Do a comparison. Try to understand the basics. And we highlighted many different ways. Don't come and generalize, religions are such and such. Excuse me. Don't, as they say, the English proverb, they say, don't brush them with or don't tar them with the same brush. I think they say, don't tar them with the same brush, which means don't generalize. Because you have a problem in your tradition, or you have a problem in your book, or you have something does not make sense in your tradition, or something related to the traditions or the culture that you came from. This does not mean every religion has. We are proud that we have a complete, concise, coherent, consistent piece of information, faith. We can prove it. Come study Islam and learn. If you have a problem with religions, please exclude Islam from them. Come and study Islam as we believe in it as a full package. Don't listen to the media. Don't go to Fox News and CNN to understand the Quran, for example. Okay? Because we can prove scientifically, logically, that our religion is a truth. And it's not just a myth. It's not just stories from the past. We can prove it scientifically in your way of thinking, okay? You need to say that, because otherwise what we are discussing is part of the ilm al-ghaib. So what kind of value will you have in the heart of anyone who's listening to you? Nothing. Okay? Next point. Now, according to many verses and many sound hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many things to us created before the human beings. And as I said, angels, jinn, heavens, the earth, جمادات شو بالإنجليزي؟
Inanimate objects.
Inanimate?
Objects. Or
Inanimate.
Yeah.
Inanimate objects, okay? Living objects and inanimate, everything was created before them. Now, in light of many other verses, we come to the point, okay, what is the first thing? It's good. Now I will add to your knowledge to understand the big picture when this event happened. What was the beginning of the creation? And by the way, let me just give another pause before I start the beginning of the creation. You know, anyone who's an atheist or close to atheism or some kind of extreme secularism, most of them, they are close to the idea of Darwinism. Darwinism means what I'm telling you about has no space in your vocabulary, which we are completely reject. Now, true believers, they do not accept Darwinism. Darwinism basically, by the way, still, it contains a big, by the way, Darwin's himself was not an atheist, by the way. Okay? But his way of thinking was used later on to support part of the big problem of atheism, which is the beginning of the creation. So sometimes they start that we start from a simple small cell, okay? What is exactly, was it a fish? It's in the water, then it came, it's the apes, the monkeys, whatever, okay? This is completely from faith, Islamic point of view is rejected. And you will be amazed to know many ideas we will explain. The beginning of the creation is Adam. Now, when you go to study 99% of the knowledge on earth, the beginning of humanity, they were what? They can't speak. They were using the sign language. They used to do. This is completely rejected in Islam. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. When Adam was sent to earth, he had the knowledge of everything. But how come now, we are in which century now? 21st. What is the age of humanity now? More or less. What do you think, according to some people? 75,000? The age of humanity. From scientific point of view, those who claim. 1 million years. Now, 21st century. Do we have people in some tribal areas in South America and in Africa? They have a very, very old primitive things and very primitive language or not? Now. We have Elon Musk, whose dream to die on March. I'm not joking. Go and listen to Elon Musk. Elon Musk, whenever you speak with him, he's talking about what? Doing something on March. In the same time, in Africa and in the area of the Amazon, do we have people still hardly have language to communicate? We have it? But how come? Imagine aliens came from another planet and it happened they went to the Amazon. Say, woo, woo. How backward the people of Earth are. Then Elon Musk will come and say, excuse me? Excuse me? This is your problem that you focused just on the Amazon. If you don't have an idea, that's your problem. If you decided to support your Darwinism and you focused on these things, now we have people like this. Now. And look what kind of knowledge and medicine and high technology now we have. Yet we have those people. Is this an evidence that those in the Amazon areas, they are the only people who represent the people of Earth? Logically, I'm speaking. So the fact that we were told all the time, people of cave, Stone Age, Bronze Age. Wallahi, you will be amazed to know how many mistakes they were brainwashing us with. Allah says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Adam came to earth, and one of the amazing things, for example, Adam, they were naked. Then when they started to find the leaves to cover their private parts. قال إن لك ألا تجوع فيها ولا تعرى, which means they were living in the Jannah how? They were with the clothes. When they committed the sin, they lost the clothes. فَبَدَتْ لَهُمَا سَوْآتُهُمَا. So they were with the clothes. So the fitrah, the core point of the fitrah, they used to have clothes by the beginning of the creation in the Jannah itself. إِنَّ لَكَ, Allah is telling him before the problem, إِنَّ لَكَ, I'm giving you that you will live in this Jannah to enjoy. لَكَ أَلَّا تَجُوعَ فِيهَا وَلَا تَعْرَى وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَضْمَأُ فِيهَا وَلَا تَضْحَى فَوَسْوَسَ. Before the whispering of the Satan, they were living with the clothes, enjoying the life, and they have no idea about being naked. So when Adam came, he came with the clothes. He came with knowledge. It's not just any knowledge. He came with the knowledge. When he competed with the malaika, they prostrate for Adam because they said, Subhanaka la ilma, we can't. He's much more, favored and preferred upon us. So don't accept what unfortunately we are brainwashed with. Type. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. This is one of the things. Type. what was the beginning of the creation? Very quickly. When you gather all the ahadith, the sound ahadith, and all the ayat together, you will discover the beginning of creation will revolve around the following very quick things. One of them, قال العرش, the throne of Allah. We don't know its nature, but it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest of the creation. Then al-kursi, the chair. We have no idea. When we say arsh and kursi, it's not a place for Allah. ليس كمثله شيء. Because sometimes, now we use a name, but the application of the name could be, tens of different things. Now, for example, when I say I will write, by default, writing is by pen, type. We human beings, how many ways of writing we have now? Can I write by touch? Can I write by speaking? Dictation. We speak. How did this happen? I'm writing without even using my fingers or holding a pen. We human beings are able to do that. Do you remember شو اسمه اللي مات هذا الفيزيائي الملحد ستيفن ايش؟ ستيفن هوكينز. They claim that they had a software, was able to speak by thinking, and maybe by sometimes they claim, I don't know, by looking by your eyes you can do some certain things, which happened by the way now in the Galaxy تبع شو اسمه Samsung, with your eyes looking you can do some certain things. Anyway, I'm just paying your attention. When I say, for example, one of the beginning of the things, al-qalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hadith sahih, قال Allah created al-qalam, the pen. Does it necessarily al-qalam means piece like this? No. It's a way, a tool of writing. Noon wal-qalami wa ma yasturun wa 'allama al-insana bil-qalam. For us, this is the qalam. Okay, this is the pen. Yes, that's true. This is what we understand. We know. But when we talk about why I'm using this, now we have maybe 10, 15 ways of recording or documenting or writing. So what about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why I'm saying this, I say, when Allah says arsh and kursi, does not mean necessarily the way that we imagine, but it is part of the greatest. We have many authentic hadith that al-arsh, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, خلق السماوات والأرض وكان عرشه على الماء. Before creating heavens and earth, the throne of Allah, it was on the water. Which water? Where the water, it's amazingly, Allah mentioned water before creating heavens. But where? We don't know. How? We don't know. It's just a matter. Allah is telling us. The reality, we will understand it later. It's good to know that al-arsh, al-kursi, al-ma' القلم. قال أول ما خلق الله القلم. One of the first things that Allah created, the pen. فقال اجري أو واكتب ما هو كائن. Then it was documented and written. Everything will happen to the end of the time. How? If you ask me about the how, I will ask you how Google can respond to 4 billion human beings pressing their keyboards in 1 second, asking 10 or billion a question, and in a half a second you will have an answer. You tell me how. You tell me. Can you realize the how? Generally, you say, okay, it's a logarithm, it's a scientific intelligence. Oh, okay. The reality. Do you know the how? By the way, while I'm speaking with you in 1 second, now I say one, we can imagine that at least 1 billion person asked different 1 billion questions to Google searching engine. But how? How the search happened and the reply, and sometimes in half a second, the results will be, we have found 10,099,100,066 results of your search. You are 1 out of 1 billion. How? What's the way? Where is the information? How did this speed reach to this? Concluded, analyzed, gave you, written. Tell me how. Who can realize the how? No one of us. And it's part of our ability, and we manufactured and created this. So when I ask about how the pen or the qalam wrote everything about what will happen, oh, no. Very simple. ليس كمثله شيء الله سبحانه وتعالى على كل شيء قدير. Okay? طيب. Now, part of the things that came, اللوح المحفوظ, the preserved tablets, the time, الزمان, من مخلوقات الله العظيمة. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and earth, He created the sun and the moon, which by this, the time started. إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا يوم خلق السماوات والأرض. It's Allah who decided that the 12 months of the time, it's like this, and this kind of, cycle of time is completely, it's Allah's decision. Before creating this creation, there was no time in our understanding. How, we don't know. We have no idea. It's amazing. It's so great to a degree that we can't even realize. We have an idea about it. We accept it as is. We understand part of it. We can make analogy to simple level of it, and we believe in the rest. Wallahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. Allah knows and you don't know. So Allah is honoring us by giving us an idea about what happened. Then we move to the next point. Now, قصة خلق آدم, let me tell you something to highlight something has to do with the nature of the stories of the Quran. This is very important. As I told you, Quran is a book of what? Guidance. It guides you. It puts you on the right track. Then, yalla, go ahead. Okay? So, part of the nature of the Quran with regard the stories of the prophets, you need to know the following. Number one, Allah does not mention every single details of each prophet and messenger with things that we need and things we don't need, with silly things, with big things. No. Allah, out of His wisdom, part of His names and attributes that we know is Al-Hakim. Part of His hikmah, He's providing us with an amount of information regarding a prophet which will make benefit of us, and it contains something we need as part of the message. Apart from that, nothing is mentioned. This is number one. Number two, the Quran is a book of life. It's a constitution. It's not a one-time film that you enjoy in the theater and you leave. So many stories, they were spread in the Quran, in each place, each surah. The story has a dimension, not necessarily is mentioned in another chapter from another dimension of the story. This is part of the nature of the Quran. Therefore, you will find, for example, Musa alayhi salam with Fir'aun is mentioned, if not mistaken, in 84 or 86 different places. So it depends on the message, the time, the problem, the duty, so it's mentioned. So Adam alayhi salam, his story of the creation and the debate that happened between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with Iblis, prostration, it was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-A'raf, Al-Hijr, Al-Kahf, Al-Isra, and Sad. And in each place has an amazing, they have shared points, yes. However, they have different special, nice, amazing messages, different dimensions. Next one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that He will let Khalif سيجعل دوسة أني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. I will create a new creation to be Khalifa. We highlighted the concept of Khalifa just a few minutes ago. Khalifa is not the representative of Allah, but every one of us يخلف بعضنا. We will be representative of each other, like conveying the message. Next message. Now Adam. Why he was created Adam. And to the best of my knowledge now, the language of the Malaika in our faith and the language of Adam and the way of addressing and all of them, it was Arabic language. So the word آدم means لأنه خلق من أديم الأرض. أديم الأرض سطح الأرض. So Adam is created Adam because his origin was taken from the surface of the earth. Surface of the earth in Arabic language called Adim. So Adam from the Adim, which his first name tells you that he is from the surface of the earth. Now, in other verses, we have many verses talks about and sound a hadith that Adam was created on steps. First from الذي خلقه من تراب, and in another sound hadith that this turab was sent. Allah took different amount of the soil of earth, different places of earth, and he created Adam. Then it was mixed with water, he became a clay, then he created the soul or the spirit in him, نفخ فيه من روحه, then he became a human being. So in a hadith, Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم says, ولهذا قال آدم قبض الله من كل الأرض قبضة, which means like small amount of the soil or the dust from here, from there. That's why قال يأتي منهم الأبيض والأسود والأحمر والأصفر ويأتي منهم السهل والصعب. Part of why we have different colors, it's because our origin from this earth goes to different places of the soil of the earth. This is because of now the colors. Now our nature, some of the soil and the dust, easy, you can plant, it gives you fruit easily, and some of them, they are so tough and so problematic. So some of us, they come with difficulties, some of them they come with, but they were provided with tools to overcome this, which is part of their bala and ibtila. Okay? So this is the reason why Adam is called Adam, from Adim. Adim al-ard. Adim al-ard is the surface of the earth. سطح الأرض. طب why Hawa is created Hawa? Who knows why Hawa is created Hawa? Oh, sorry, is called Hawa. Who knows? جزاك الله خير. نعم. لأنها خلقت من إنسان حي. And here comes one of the very beautiful things. Now, in our faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هو الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها. He is the one who created you from one soul, i.e. Adam. Then he created his spouse from him. This will give us a pause. The categories of human beings in terms of their origins, there are four. Number one, we have a human being without father and mother, which is Adam. We have a human being from a male without female, which is Hawa. We have a human being from a female without male, which is Isa alayhi salam. And the rest of humanity from male and female, من ذكر وأنثى. So we have three special categories. Each category is just one. Then the rest of humanity, one category. Category A, Adam. B, Hawa. C, Isa alayhi salam. D, every one of us. That's why Allah used one of this when some of the people who claim that, Isa alayhi salam is God or the Son of God or God's incarnation or God's incarnate. It depends on how they express it. It's very simply, إن مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. The resemblance of Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, our dear Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is like Adam alayhi salam. Actually, if I'm to worship someone because he's from a mother without a father, I'm supposed to worship who? Adam, because he's much greater than, with this logic. If part of what makes you think that a man who comes from a female without a male is a valid reason for you to consider him God or gods incarnate, go and worship Adam. Because Adam, no father and no mother. طيب, in case if you insisted you don't want a male figure, we can choose a female figure for you. We have Hawa, Eve. No, I'm talking about human beings. Yes, human beings. والعياذ بالله طبعا, God forbid. I'm just using for the sake of argument. For the sake of argument, Hawa alayhi salam, our dear mother, she was created from Adam. By the way, this is the big difference of males and females when you speak with feminists. Yes, Eve was created from a human being. She's much human. Men came from the soil and the dust. That's why they are very tough. Wallahi, they were created to go and work, to fight, to bring food, to bring bread, to take care. They were created from this to do this. Women, they were created to take care of the new reproduction of humanity, human beings. We need special human made from a human to take care of the new humanity. You see? So I was saying, if you were to worship someone, you can choose Adam or Hawa. God forbid. Because she was created from a human being with no, it's by the much more problematic from a male without a female. By the way, this is clear cut. وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. Third one, Isa alayhi salam, we know his story. It was a challenge for the people of Israel, and it's by the will of Allah, it's part of the mu'jiza, and etc. So we need to know these four categories when we speak about who is Adam, why he is called Adam, and who is Hawa. Okay? Now, next point. I forgot when I started, by the way, because I decided to make my session just 1 hour.
7:24.
Can you stand extra 10 minutes? Inshallah, at 8:30, inshallah. Bismillah, okay. طيب, next. طيب. Now, Adam is about to be created. What is the purpose of his existence on earth according to the Quran, not just in Surah Al-Baqarah? Because I told you I'm dealing with concepts now. Surah Al-Baqarah is the beginning. It tells you about, do you know that this, then okay, go search about the full story. The full story, when you go and search the full Quran, I'm dealing with the full Quran now. What is the purpose of the existence of this being when he is created? He's not created yet, because Allah is talking with the angels, telling them, Inni ja'il, I will. Okay? Fil ardi khalifa. So the first job is al-istikhlaf, which means you have to stay there, you have to reproduce and to take care of my commandments there until I decide. So istikhlaf, number one. In another verse, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Verily indeed, I have not created the jinn and the human beings but to worship me. And we explained many times, worship does not mean ritual worship just. It means full obedience, submission to the will of their Lord in full without any kind of preconditions. And a third ayah, which we need to know, especially anyone who submitted himself. This is in specific for believers now. Because supposedly everyone should be a believer. Okay? In case if you accepted this narrative, this understanding, this revelation, Allah is telling you directly, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. Now our existence here basically istikhlaf, we have to stay. And by the way, istikhlaf by default means you have to take care of the family. So the gender problems need to be viewed from family point of view, which is part of our faith in Islam. Because al-istikhlaf by default means humanity should take care of the system of reproduction. Are you with me? System of reproduction means by default needs families. So if you are trying to change the concept of family as if you are suggesting to stop the existence of what? Humanity, yes. In Islamic understanding, for us, the concept of a family, of a husband and wife, having kids, raising them, distributing the responsibilities is part of the basic aim of creation before the creation of Adam. نجعل في الأرض خليفة. How this God's will be applied through this way. Okay? Now, قال اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Next point in the last 5 minutes. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Okay. How I explained this while I was preparing. How did the angels know about, spreading, corruption and stuff? We told you that many possibilities. Because أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها. One of the possibilities Allah told them. One of the possibilities what they have witnessed from the jinn or other creation, or maybe they, expected that. Regardless, Allah did not tell us. And one of the things we need to know about the nature of the Quran when telling us information. Now, whatever Allah did not reveal to us, there is no need for it. Allah decided not to tell us about. Ilmul ghaib, something the unseen happened millions or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of years ago. We have no access except the revelation, the authentic revelation, which is the mutawatir, okay, or the sahih of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you don't have, there is no room for what we call ijtihad. Be careful, this is very important. You know the word ijtihad? Ijtihad, okay, means literally to put very high level of efforts to do something, okay? تجتهد, مجتهد, okay? Now, ijtihad as a terminology, which means to use one of the highest level of intellectual processing to try to understand, to analyze, to try to go in deep to discover something. Something has to do, this is applicable on us in fiqh, ijtihad, which means we have texts. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, don't do blah, 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 blah. Do such and such. This is called text. Okay? From the text, sometimes, or from the action, or the reaction of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, someone did something. Then Prophet Muhammad was sitting there. He saw him and he smiled. This text we can derive through the process of ijtihad many legislations, ahkam. Okay? This is called ijtihad. Yes, you have a text in practical things. But we have no right to do ijtihad in the unseen. One of the amazing things that I studied, I think 35 years ago. Have you heard with this sound hadith sahih, when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ went to visit, Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, the one who served Prophet Muhammad 10 years. His mother is Sulaym. Sulaym is the one who decided to dedicate her son Anas radiallahu anhu as the servant of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, I served Prophet Muhammad 10 years. Okay? And one of the times, Prophet Muhammad wanted to honor his servant. He decided to visit his house. Can you imagine? The president, the boss, the king, he asked his secretary, I want to visit your house to say salam for your mother and your father and your brother. So how honor is it? So sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to visit the house of Sulaym, the mother of Anas. When he delved into the house, it happened that his younger brother, his name is Abu Umair. His nickname, Abu Umair. Very young, 3 years, 4 years. He was crying because he used to have a small bird, and this small bird passed away. This bird in that time, the name of this bird is an-nughri. One of the birds, like lovebirds or something. It's called in Arabic language, nughri. So he was crying. Then Prophet Muhammad started to, like to make, speaking a very nice, soft way with him. قال يا أبا عمير ما فعل النغير. It's when I say, hey, you nice. I hear, what happened with the nughayr? Yes, what happened with it? He was asking in a very nice way to make it easy for him because he lost his. Prophet Muhammad visited Anas in his house. He saw his brother crying because he lost his bird. He said, oh, Aba Umayr, what happened with the nughayr? How many words can you imagine in Arabic? How many words? 20? Okay. Ulama, according to Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, one of the greatest ulama, he said they derived 92 hukum from this hadith. 92 Islamic legislations from this hadith. One of them, استحباب زيارة رئيس الدولة للرعاية. It's highly recommended for the chief officer, the president, the whatever, who's in charge of the people, to visit the people in their houses. جواز تربية الطيور في البيت بشرط إطعامها. It's permissible for you have birds at in case if you are feeding them, taking them. Well, the Prophet did not say the fact that he did not say, hey Abu Umayr, how come you were raising a bird, which because it's haram. He did not say that. This is indirect approval for the permission of having birds. Okay. قال استحباب ملاطفة الأطفال. Highly recommended to speak in a very nice way with kids. It's Islamic legislations between haram, mubah, wajib. 92 Islamic legislations from one hadith, 20 words, simple incident. Why I'm highlighting this? Just to talk about what? Ijtihad. This is very rich in Islam. And this is part of the glory and greatness of Islamic system. However, this is completely prohibited. This is completely unpermissible because you have no access when it comes to ghaib and faith issues. Wallahi, okay. Sheikh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the malaika said such and such. I think that they said so and so because... Wait. What did you say? I think, okay, depending on what? Wallahi, my feelings. No, Sheikh, please. Sit there and, I don't want to say tough word, but sit there and... Don't think. Okay, it's a nice word. Don't think. Sure, what do you think? Well, I assume that the angels' numbers who were witnessing this, they were between... I assume, Habibi. Assume mean. I think, I believe, I feel. Close. It's either one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال ربك للملائكة. Do we know the number of the malaika? No. Do we know their nature? No. Do we know? No. The only thing they said, what they said. قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. We repeat what we know. This is علم غيب. Don't do اجتهاد. Wallahi, I think for example, وكان عرشه على الماء, so the water before. No. Depending on some scientific research, we believe that this happened before this. Habibi, you know better than Allah. Are you with me? So be careful. You have to distinguish between two big main areas. Faith, ghaib, accept it or leave it. You accept it, a believer. You leave it, you are a non-believer. يعطيك العافية, close the file. Wallahi, but by the way, once the idea is basic faith points, it's either take it or leave it. No right to pick and choose. And by the way, I'm not joking. Do you know in Islam, if someone say, I believe in all prophets except Musa alayhi salam, he is what? He is what? Kafir, an unbeliever. Wallahi, I respect all prophets except Yunus alayhi salam. He's a kafir. Well, but I have an issue with him. With who? with يونس عليه السلام. حبيبي يسعد لي اياك، كنت انت عليه شو well والله I'm not, it's a big issue. Faith have to respect what Allah told you about the creation, about the prophets, about these big faith issues. No room, no space to intervene with your... And this is one of the problems, and by the way, it's not our problem if other religions, they have a problem. In Islam, it's not permissible, this area. Next area, yes, you can go and you can do ijtihad in whatever you think. Type. Next time, do you know what I will be discussing? Just to keep you thinking for a full week. One of the greatest questions in your life. Do you know what is it? If Allah declared clearly, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً, the aim of the creation, to let Adam be on earth. But why he asked him to live in Jannah, and when he made a mistake, he was kicked into the earth, even though he was created to be in the earth? This what will be? Inshallah.
When he's able to take a decision after disobeying Allah, he took the decision, he was able now to take the decision by himself.
You have to be with us next time, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Jazakallah khair. Very nice way of expression, yes, jazakallah khair. So next time, we will highlight this point with a lot of other details, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. See you next time, next Tuesday. And Brother Shihab, yes, he told me, in case if you are interested, those who are attending, this is a very specific dars. And a little bit, it costs some kind, and generally I advise you please to write notes. You will benefit from, inshallah. In case if, for whatever reason, I had something, maybe, or someone else, a guest came, or we changed, or at the last moment happened, if some of you came from, 50 kilometers from here. So there is a group with Brother Shihab. You can be on it. In case anything happened, you will be notified immediately, inshallah. He will ask me, is there a session? Just at least to know if there is a session or no, in case if there is a problem. No one notified you with anything, there's no problem, everything as is, inshallah. If you are interested to know that, contact with the Brother Shihab sitting there next to the door. Jazakumullah khair. See you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
نسأل ولا